Huntsville. Coming up momentarily, NASA Select Television will provide the Today in Space program featuring Doctors Bob Sokolowski and Byron Lichtenberg. That event scheduled to begin at 1 p.m. Central Daylight Time.
Hello, I'm Byron Lichtenberg.
And I'm Bob Sokolowski.
The life and material science activities continue to go full speed ahead, and today the Spacelab J crew got some good news. They'll have yet an extra day in space to do their research. We'll have all the news in just a moment.
And while magicians claim that the hand is quicker than the eye, on Spacelab J, scientists are hoping to reveal the connection between the eye and the hand, and what tricks spaceflight plays on the body. We'll be looking at some life science research on our Science Focus segment that could make people even more productive in space. These stories and much more coming up next on Today in Space.
Good day from NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center in Huntsville, Alabama. We're just about 4 days, 3.5 hours into the Spacelab J mission. The SLJ Redshift is currently on duty on a mission which continues around the clock, and Endeavour and its Spacelab module is on its 67th orbit. Speaking of orbits, the Spacelab J flight will now include an extra 16 orbits. About 9:45 Central Time this morning, Mission Control in Houston relayed the news to the crew.
I know that you guys enjoyed that last Aurora pass, and we just wanted to call you up from here and let you know that you're going to have another 24 hours to enjoy those Auroras.
That was certainly considered good news by the crew, but there was also plenty of excitement among the Spacelab J team here on the ground. We asked Mission Manager Aubrey King for his reaction.
Okay, what it means is it's an additional day to acquire data on a number of the scientific investigations, so that by extending an additional day, then we will get certainly a very large increase in the science returns for Spacelab J. So we're very, very pleased about it, and in fact we've already instituted the replanning as far as the timeline and activities and everything else to accomplish that.
Well, from people to Hornets, the past day's life science experiments have included studies on adaptation to spaceflight. We have this summary report. The lower body negative pressure experiment began its first major activities last night. The test on Jan Davis was completed successfully. LaDonna Miller of the LBNP team is excited about the completion of this first session.
The two crewmen involved in our experiment were MS3 and MS4, and they did a great job and helped us a lot in trying to get the best science that we can for this mission. The Japanese cell culture experiments are proceeding along beautifully, and the cells are growing well. The PI, Dr. Sato, has these words on his experiment.
I'm very happy to inform you that the cell is growing well in space, and also our experiment is proceed in good condition. I'm expecting to get good results from space experiments.
The principal investigator of the fish adaptation experiment, Dr. Morey, talked to mission specialist Mark Lee about the condition of the fish.
Then is the fish is on upright position or upside down, is it?
As you look at the fish, he's tilted 45 degrees to the left, and he stays in that orientation almost all the time. I might add that the fish are extremely healthy. They look really good.
The Israeli experiment about hornets was having a humidity problem within the chambers. At 99% humidity, the hornets have difficulty building combs. The crew has successfully vented the chamber, and the humidity is now about 93%, which makes it possible for the hornets to build their combs. Life Science Program Scientist Dr. Thora Halstead.
The hornets have not built nests yet because, according to the investigator, Dr. Ishay, the humidity may have been too high. The humidity has now been reduced, and he expects that if they can build nests, they will.
Today's Frog Health Check has proved that astronauts are not the only ones who can have fun in microgravity. Investigator Paul Callahan says he's ecstatic about what he saw.
I agree with him. Those are the friskiest, healthiest frogs I've seen in a long time. Really looked like they were having fun.
And this one right here would like to say a special hello to Kim Souza and that the whole Phi gang at Ames. They're happy that they got to fly in space. And I think they're doing just great.
The visual stability experiment began its second run during the last 24 hours. This experiment is yielding some exciting results which will be discussed later in our Science Focus. Topping our news now from the materials science side of the mission, a special device being used aboard Spacelab J allows scientists to work with samples without the detrimental effects that can be caused by containers. As NASA scientist Dr. Jan Rogers explains, in microgravity, you can make a container made only of sound.
Levitation is a process which causes an object to float or rise in air. Astronauts floating in the microgravity of the space shuttle provide us with one example. Even on Earth, pressure forces from sound waves can be used to levitate objects, but only very lightweight objects, like the ping-pong balls we see here. Scientists are interested in the levitation of heavier objects, like drops of fluids or ball bearings. We're all familiar with some technologies developed to oppose the force of gravity, as demonstrated in jet airplane flight. Pressure forces provide lift on jet airplane wings. This is a laboratory demonstration. For most scientific research purposes, the flow of air would disturb the samples. Here, gas flows through the glass tube. Where the tube is narrow, the gas moves faster and the pressure is low. This low pressure causes the ball bearing to rise or levitate. When the airflow is turned off, the forces of gravity take over and the ball bearing drops. Scientists from Japan are studying the behavior of liquid drops in the Liquid Drop Experiment Facility. The drops are levitated using controlled forces from sound waves. Studies examined the behavior of drops in response to forces from sound waves. What you're seeing now are examples of the deployment and manipulation of drops of mineral oil performed on this mission. Another area of research which involves levitation is containerless processing, which is being performed in the acoustic levitation furnace. The goal of containerless processing studies is to produce samples of metals and glasses in an undisturbed environment. Often, contact with a container can contaminate or interfere with the properties of